Greetings, freshmen, multimedia students. It's me, Mr. Cheney, here with another brilliant tutorial. This is part 4 in the series of the designs and principles of graphic design and the crap poster. C-R-A-P, that's right, crap. C was contrast. R is repetition, which we are going to cover today. A it was alignment, is alignment, and P is proximity. So let's talk about repetition. This one's fast, not many slides. Let's get right into it. So repetition is the fourth part, like I said, of the principles of design. And we're just going to kind of read through over here. So repetition breeds cohesiveness in a design. Once a design pattern has been established, for example, a dotted border or a specific typographic styling, repeat this pattern to establish consistency. The short version, establish a style for each element in a design and use it on a similar element. So in this example, you can think of this as like some marketing material. This could be a flyer, this could be like a business card, and some other materials that a business might use. And they've decided to use these dots as their repeating pattern to go across like their genre of products. So that's kind of what they're going for. So the principle of repetition states repeat some aspect of the design throughout the entire piece. The repetitive element may be a bold font, a thick rule or a line, a certain bullet, a color, a design element, a particular format, the spatial relationship, or anything like that. It can be anything that a reader will visually recognize. So this is just kind of what we said in words, but you can see kind of what they're talking about. So repeating a visual element of design throughout the piece. It could be a color, it could be a shape, it could be a texture, it could be a line thickness, so different thicknesses of lines, size of something, or even spatial relationship. That could mean like putting something upside down or something. This helps develop the organization and strengthens the unity. So, business card. We've been talking about it for the other elements on this business card. We have kind of a textured bold thing for the business name. We already know that we've successfully used proximity for this as far as how they've laid it out. In this next example, it's going to show you a repeating element, which they've used again the bold texture down here for the phone number. So business name and phone number are using the repeating feature. On a resume, so the different things that are part of the repetitions of a resume. Bold typeface, so we have bold, bold, bold for like the headings. We have light typeface for the subheadings. We have square bullets for the main points of the resume. Indentations, so all of the main headings are indented like justified left, as we learn in alignment. And then these light typefaces with the bullets, they're kind of indented in because they are bulleted. And then you have spacing alignments, so each of these sections, they're repeating the same spacing in between each section. Skip that because this is a video. Alright, to create a consistent business package with a business card, letterhead, and envelope, you're going to use a strong display of repetition not only within each piece, but between all the pieces. You want the person who receives the letter to know you're the same person who gave them a business card last week, and create a layout that allows you to align the printed letter with some element in the stationery design. So, this is someone's business. The bigger piece of paper obviously is like a letterhead where they might write or type a letter, and then you've got your business card. So, here's the Blue Nation Student Store. That's the business card that we just recently did. And if we were to do a letterhead, we might use some of those elements. Obviously, we would use the logo, but even like the color scheme and like how we have the gray, white, then navy blue, we might use that scheme if we were going to do a letterhead. And that's a repeating pattern. So the purpose of repetition is to unify and to add visual interest. Don't underestimate the power of the visual interest of a page. If a piece looks interesting, it is more likely to be read. So kind of think back to that dance poster we were talking about. The first version had like all the words and the address and everything kind of all over the place. And in theory, that seems fun, but once we used proximity to group everything together where it was supposed to be and find those relationships, it made it look more interesting, and it made it so that you could stop and actually read the information at the same time. Okay, we're to poster time. Told you this one would be quick. So, what you're going to be doing, just like all the other posters when you draw this one out, you are going to write out in big block letters, 2 inches tall at least, the word repetition. Check your spelling on this one. This one is not the easiest thing to spell. I guarantee that someone is going to misspell it. So, how do you spell repetition? R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. It's the E at the beginning, so be careful with those I's. Alright, so the rest of the poster needs to look like this. At least 4 identical items or shapes repeating in an orderly fashion for the consistency, and then an additional item that is nearly identical but different in a very distinctive way. This is unity with variety. So here are some ways you can make the single item distinct or different. Make it significantly bigger or smaller. Make it a very different color. Or flip or turn the item, that's the spatial part that we talked about, or put the item on its own, away from the other orderly items. Make it colorful, make it neat, take your time just like we were talking about with the other ones. So let's look at this basic example. So repetition, R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. Got 5 rabbits, got a 6th one, but it's purple, so they chose to use purple to make a distinction on their 6th rabbit. If we go to the assignment on Google Classroom, we can look at some examples. So I've got a couple bad examples and a few good examples. Bad example number 1. It is very evident that this person didn't put much time into this. They didn't finish it. They spelled repetition right, I'll give them that. But no color, didn't finish, not great. This one, little better. I mean, we got some color now, but repetition, not nearly big enough to be read across the room. Very little effort. They didn't even get the right count. We got 4 and then 1 instead of 5 and 1. This one is pretty darn good. They made a scene out of it. Repetition is spelled correctly. We've got 4 distinct. They used size to distinguish between their items. This one is okay, better than the other 2. Repetition is spelled right. It's got the big block letters. We've got the shapes. The distinction here is green. And I think they're trying to make a distinction here with the big one, so maybe not following the directions exactly, but better than the first 2. And then this one is pretty darn good too. Repetition, I like how they did the 2 different colors on the repetition part. Definitely can read this from across the room. It's spelled correctly. We've got our 4 distinct shapes, and they chose color to make their distinction. Okay, that's it. That's repetition. So we have 4 posters. Contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity all need to have a paper version, all need to have a digital version, and they are all going on Atlas for this first semester's grade. Okay, see you out there. Have fun.